What's up guys, Zac Perna here, and today's video is going to be all about the ketogenic diet. So I've just started doing this. Firstly, sampling the new Pepsi Max Vanilla, and it is fucking delicious. So I'll be sipping on that throughout the video just to warn you. That is good, that is terrific. So that's the video guys, I hope you enjoy it now. So basically I'm in my first 2 weeks of keto dieting. And what it is it's a very low carb, high fat, moderate protein diet. So I'll run through the macros specifically soon, but essentially you've cut out all your carbs and you really jack up your fats. And the logic of this is that your body's usually used to using carbs for fuel and like sugars. And what you're doing is you're trying to change that so that your body uses fats primarily as fuel. So then it's easier to tap into body fat to burn. So that's the logic of keto dieting. What a lot of people have done is they say, yeah, I tried keto dieting, it sucks, da da da. And you say, oh yeah, what did you do? And they say, all I ate was protein and I cut all my carbs out. And their fats were like, 30% still. And it's not enough, they feel like shit. So you need to up your fats significantly. So with me, I noticed in my first week, generally in the first 2 weeks of the diet, you're meant to get the keto flu, which is as a result of basically adapting to no carbs, and your body strips out all its water, a lot of electrolytes too, so you've got to load up, and generally you feel like shit. So you got headaches and stuff like that. For me, probably coming from a low carb diet, I didn't get it as bad. I felt good because I was having all this fat. So for me, it was fine. It was an easy transition. I lost a couple of kilos, so mainly water weight. But I can tell a lot of fats come off as well, even in 2 weeks, which is crazy. And so I'll get into basically how to structure the keto diet. So what it is you take your maintenance calories, and if you're cutting, and knock them back so you're in a deficit. So make sure you're in a calorie deficit, and you'll get 70% or 75% of your calories from fats. Any fats, just not trans, but any fats, so saturated, whatever. And then you'll get 20 to 25% of your calories from protein, and minimal from carbs, so maybe 5 to 10% from carbs. And this will basically provide your body with enough fats to be used as energy, and you'll make ketones. So ketones are basically fatty acids that your brain can use as energy, and it's a byproduct of fat loss. So that's what the whole ketogenic diet is you're producing a lot of ketones, which mean that you're essentially burning fat. A lot of people also think they'll lose muscle when they're keto dieting, and that just comes from the fact that your protein's moderate, which is weird for bodybuilders usually having a shitload of protein and then knocking it down. I'll admit it's strange, but ketones that your body produces are protein sparing. So they did studies where they had people doing like normal low carb dieting with refeeds and then keto dieting, and the keto dieters lost significantly less muscle mass than those just following a normal low carb diet. So if you're going to do it, if you're going to low carb diet, go all the way and keto it. There's no point being in the middle. My diet before this was low carb, like I was having probably 60 carb or 70 carb, and it was low fat. I was only having 30 fat and the rest protein, and it just sucks. So the good thing about keto is that your satiety is through the roof. So I can eat one meal and then I won't be hungry again for a good 5 hours because the fats really keep you full and they keep you satisfied. So my brekkies have been bacon, eggs cooked in butter with veggies, and getting that taste coming from just like bland oats or something, it's really good. So, and you feel great, and then you don't really have any like crazy cravings. So I haven't had a cheat meal in 2 weeks, basically because if I feel like a burger, I'll just make a burger with cheese on it and have no bun, and it's fine. So you can really, that's what I like about it so far, is that you can add in the foods you like that, seem dirty usually, and it keeps you a lot fuller. So it makes dieting pretty easy from what I've noticed so far. There's a few words getting thrown around. There's ketones, ketosis, and keto adaptation. So I'll run you through these three things. Ketones, what your body produces when it's burning fat when you really restrict your carbs. Ketosis is the state your body's in when you're making ketones. So you can check if you're in ketosis by keto sticks, which are basically like urine strips that you pee on, and then check if it's got ketones coming out. So that's one way of doing it. And keto adaptation takes place when maybe minimum 2 weeks of keto dieting. That's when your body becomes primarily like used to fats as fuel, and it'll prefer fats as fuel. So that's the whole point of the keto diet, is to become keto adapted. So once you're keto adapted, theoretically, it's easy to tap into body fat, and you can really just chew through it because your body really loves using fat as fuel. That's the goal when you're keto dieting, is to become keto adapted. And it takes a good 3 weeks of 2 to 3 weeks of just strict keto, no carbs. Okay? So there's 3 different types of keto diets too. There's the standard keto diet where you have no carbs, like I just told you. There's the targeted keto diet where you have like your carbs around training. So maybe 20 to 30 grams of carbs only like during or before workouts. And some people that works great for them. And then there's also the cyclic keto diet, which I'll be trying soon. And that's where you have a refeed day once a week basically, or once every 10 days, or however you want to do it. The only thing is that to force that adaptation, you've got to be strict keto for a minimum 2 weeks, like I was saying before. So I might stick it out for a month, and at that point, you can add carbs back in, which is good to do so, because you don't want your body only becoming used to fat as fuel and then it neglects carbs. So you've got to become what's called metabolically flexible, in terms that you can use carbs and you can use fats. So my goal is to be like keto for the majority of the week, 6 days. Say on Sunday, I have a big refeed day of like 350 carbs for me or whatever it is. And then by Monday, my goal is to get back into ketosis and do it all again. So you really need to give yourself that initial time to become keto adapted before you start throwing in refeeds. So at this point, I haven't had a refeed, haven't had a carb yet. That's why this is terrific. But diet sodas and stuff really hit that sweet spot for me. That's all I really need. But soon I think it'll be interesting to carb up and see what happens in terms of glycogen and all that. So I think in the gym, training should be the same. In the first couple of weeks, your training might struggle a little bit, only in that I found my endurance battled. So if I'm used to 60-minute sessions, I might start getting pretty tired at around 45-minute mark because I'm pretty depleted. But I've noticed that my pumps are still there. So I have a lot of good fats before a workout. I'll have at least 15 grams of coconut oil for the MCTs, and I'll just load up on whatever my pre-workout meal is, and that's probably about 40 grams of fat as well, and a lot of salt too. So I find my pumps are sometimes through the roof, and I just get a little bit tired at the end of the session, but that's about it. So some good foods as well to have in the keto diet. You want fatty cuts of meat, because if your protein intake is too high, your body can go through a process called gluconeogenesis, which it actually converts the protein to glucose because your body's so used to using glucose as energy. So you want your protein moderate. So if you have a fatty cut of meat, like a fatty steak or chicken thighs, you've obviously got more fat to protein ratio. So you want to keep the fat high, protein moderate. Dairy products are great. So cheese, cream, what have I been having? I've been having a lot of oils too. So a lot of coconut oils. I've been having a lot of eggs. What else? Also, yeah, your fiber's got to be high too. So I have a lot of salads. A lot of people neglect fiber on keto and they just go for like bacon and everything else, and every meal's bacon, which you can. It's pretty good. But yeah, don't neglect fiber. So make sure you either supplement with fiber or you eat enough green vegetables and salads. I've been doing a filthy salad with just ranch sauce, chicken, greens. Like that's heaven for me. Again, it keeps me full. A few common mistakes when people think about keto dieting or misconceptions is that they think as soon as you go keto, you go into ketoacidosis, which means your blood's too acidic and you can get sick. And it's dangerous if you're a diabetic with uncontrolled diabetes. I'm not, so I couldn't give a fuck. That's why it's not going to affect me. I'm not an alcoholic, so that's also not going to affect me. Under those two conditions, ketosis is probably not a good idea. But if you're nutritionally inducing ketosis, as like we are with the diet, you're not in the danger of that. And it's got a heap of other benefits apparently, like it helps your cholesterol because it boosts your good cholesterol, which is weird because you're eating so many fats. It just goes against the grain. And also it's good for like brain related disorders. And it's like I said before, it's protein sparing too. So for me at this point, I feel like it's a good tool to use dieting if you're sick of bland foods, you want to change it up a bit, you may be plateaued and you can't get that last bit of fat off, but it can be a sustainable lifestyle for some, because you can bake, you can make alternatives, to foods, but some people just can't do it because they'll miss carbs too much. So for me, so far so good. I can't complain. You'll see a lot of keto dieters that are like all for it, and it's like cult-like, and they say it's the only way. It's not the only way. It depends on the individual, depends on your preferences and your goals. If you're someone who can't eat vegetables and can't stand salads, you might struggle because you're not going to fill yourself up as much. But me, I don't mind that. I quite enjoy it, so it's pretty easy, and I'd go for this as a method of dieting. So another thing I really want to go over is that first 2 weeks of keto for the majority of the population sucks. So you really have to push through that. If you feel like you got brain fog in the first 5 days, it's normal. Just keep going, keep pushing, make sure your fats are high enough, and you can use those keto sticks to measure. So yeah, how do you measure ketosis? Go to the chemist, see if they've got keto sticks, and you can use those. It'll give you an indication of like the strength of the ketones in your urine, and I wouldn't really be concerned about the extent, like the degree of how strong they are, because that'll just be a measure of hydration. So as long as you've got a detection of ketones in your urine, sweet, you're in it. If you have none, you got to think, all right, either my carbs are too high, or your protein's too high, or your fats are too low. So you kind of got to play around with it a bit. I noticed in my first couple of days, I wasn't as much. I didn't think I was in ketosis, so I had to drop my protein a little bit. And then I did that the next day, like straight away I saw results, so I was like, cool. To maximize fat loss, I also think a ketogenic diet is good with intermittent fasting. For a few reasons. One, for the benefits of fasting for fat loss. Two, because you can condense your calories into a smaller window and it feels like you're eating heaps. And three, the satiety effects of keto works really well if you're trying to go for longer periods without food. So what I was doing is maybe I'll have my first meal at like 1 or 12 p.m. That's like brekkie. Maybe another one either like mid-arvo, something small, and then dinner is something big. Or I'll just have a big brekkie and a really big dinner. And it feels like you're eating all this food and you're like, this is like, can't be good. But then you just drop weight and the fat's slowly coming off. Let me just check. I don't know what else to talk about. I had it written down. So bear fucking with me. Okay, so another thing I wanted to say. Another thing I wanted to say is you can't just do a keto diet for months and then just go straight back to normal carbs, because your body's probably going to be pretty sensitive to them and you might be more inclined to store the carbs as fat. So what you want to do is have a slow transition period out of a keto diet where you slowly add carbs in. So maybe you add them in 50 grams of carbs like per week, as in like per day. Used to having say 30 grams of carbs. So week 1 coming out of a keto diet, you might have, you might up it to 70 grams of carbs. So you're slowly increasing. So there you go. Week 2, up it to 100 grams of carbs a day. And then slowly taper your fat down a bit so your calories are the same. So that way you're getting your body used to having carbs again. I'd probably throw them in around workout times. And then you're not going to store as much as fat. So what I like about it is if you think logically, your body's got, let's say 10 kilos of fat, right? 10 kilos of fat at 9 calories per gram. So think of how many thousand calories you've got of fat that you don't use. You just don't, you don't use it as fuel all the time. You prefer to burn up carbs. So if you're keto adapted and your body is so used to getting fats through your diet and making ketones and making energy, then when you are in times of calorie deficit and starving, your body will much easier go, sweet, I've got the fats here, take it from your fat tissue, convert it over to ketones, there's your energy. So it's an easier process for your body. Instead of going, I'm so used to carbs, now I've got to tap into this, it's more likely going to tap into muscle and convert it over to carbs, right? So that's why I like the logic of keto dieting when you're really trying to strip the fat off, is because you can like tap into those areas that usually you wouldn't. In summary, keto diet, very low carb, high fat, moderate protein. You want about 70 to 75% of your calories from fats, I don't care which type of fats, and you want about 20 to 25% of your calories coming from protein, and then you want about 30 grams maximum of carbs. And this is net carbs, so your total carbs minus fiber. So you can use MyFitnessPal to figure that out, but yeah, you're only concerned with net carbs. right? You want to stick out ketosis for a minimum of 2 weeks so that your body becomes keto adapted. And then that way you can put in things like a refeed or targeted keto dieting, a bit of carbs around your workout. And then, the theory behind that is that you'll basically go out of ketosis temporarily, use the carbs up in your workout, jump back in it. But it's one of those things you have to play around with. I'll slowly post updates of how I do my refeeds when the time comes, but at this point I'm not concerned with that yet. What else? So make sure your carbs are super low, fat's pretty high, your proteins are moderate. Ketones are protein sparing, so don't feel like you're going to lose muscle. Your strength should stay the same. Mine has stayed the same, improved in some areas, which is pretty cool. Opt for fattier cuts of meat, go for good dairy products. Saturated fats are great. Cholesterol and saturated fats, good for guys for your testosterone. That's how test is made. So really high fat diet's good for your hormones. While I've got this, diet sodas are pretty controversial with keto because some people have pretty different opinions. Some people say, nah, did nothing for me, didn't throw me out of ketosis, it's fine. Some people say, I reckon it did, So it's kind of, you got to see it for yourself. I've had a few and it didn't change anything. So I was trying to notice, and my body fat is continually going down. I tested for ketosis and I was still in it, so I think it's fine. But if you're pedantic about it, just cut them out. Okay, and don't have any artificial sweeteners. In terms of like recipes, I am currently in the process of writing them all down and making like a little recipe book. So as soon as I can do that, I'll let all of you guys know, because I'm trying to be creative and come up with some pretty cool ideas for food, because you might get sick of bacon and eggs every day. I am not yet. It's fucking sick. But so you might get sick of like the standard food. So I'll throw in some things to change it up. So I'll show you guys how to use a MyFitnessPal. See that? Sweet. So this is MyFitnessPal. We'll go add food. And let's just search up eggs. So I've already got it in here. Eggs, 3 large eggs. Yep. Add food. Let's go. Bit of bacon. Everybody fucking loves bacon. And let's put some greens in there. So let's say asparagus. 4 spears. Alright, so let's check the nutrition for this. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's saying 27 grams of protein, 4 grams of carbs, and 1 fiber. So we've got 3 net carbs and then 24 fats. So I've actually configured my goals in MyFitnessPal to dictate my total macros. So jump into settings, go goals, and we'll go calorie and macronutrient goals. So I've put in mine like this. So I've gone calories 1610, and then I've said 5% carbs, 22% protein, 73% fat to get a bit of a macro spread there. So you can actually do that in MyFitnessPal, and then it'll tell you what you've got left for the day. So like I've got 13 carbs left, 87 fats, and about 63 protein, which is pretty cool. That's a lot. And it makes it very easy. So again, that's MyFitnessPal right there. But that's about it. So I hope I summed it up well. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment, unless you're a hater. I don't want to hear that shit. Some of them are funny. And like the video. So I hope you guys enjoy it. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll get back to them as I do. So stay fucking shredded, bruhs. In fact, I might show you my fridge. And see some different foods that I've been eating lately. So we'll suss it out. Let's go upstairs. Alright, so let's check the fridge, see what we got. Yum. Alright, so this was a beef brisket. That was insane. We've got some meatballs here. Cream and all the salads. So I'm having them. Heaps of eggs. Stevia, really good natural sweetener. It's got basically no calories in it. Make sure you have all your EHP lab supplements because they're the best. And also, sugar-free maple if you want some sweet. And I've been going with the low-carb fettuccine, low-carb rice. Really good options. It tastes like the real deal. And of course, you've got all your different nuts that you'd like. If you like to snack on these nuts. And how's this too? Pork crackle. I think 15 grams of protein, 7 fats, 0 carbs in a pack. So today I'm actually gonna get that pork crackle and make chicken cutlets. So I'm gonna bang out the cutlets like schnitzels, dip them in egg, put them in that. So I reckon that'll be fucking sick. What else is there? That's pretty much it, guys. So I hope now you're equipped with the tools to get fucking shredded. Enjoy.